Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have some big stuff here today. I'm going to give a full summary, a full breakdown, what's going on. Biden comes out last night, talks about the Supreme Court, speaks for 4 minutes. They try and ask him questions, and it's hilarious as he's walking off and the door's open for him that you've got people asking him questions. He just completely turns his back. Biden, and this has come out now, Jake Tapper talking to one of Biden's top strategists on CNN. We're going to get to it. Tapper says Biden needs to do like a 2-hour press conference answering questions from people. And I agree with him. That's probably going to put Biden out of his misery because it would be so funny. And the top advisor agreed with it. I don't think it's ever going to happen. He can barely speak for 4 minutes. He's reading off a teleprompter. By the way, literally reading off the teleprompter word for word. End of quote, as we know. But we're just going to go through this entire thing. You've got Rachel Maddow now coming out fake crying. Van Jones trying to push Kamala Harris. Apparently, there is an obsession with the idea of running Kamala because they're forced to. And this is what I thought. She is a woman of color, so it's going to be very hard for them to jump Kamala with really anyone. I think they could easily do it with Michelle because she's also a woman of color. But we do have a few things. First, we do have Rosie O'Donnell fighting back tears over the Supreme Court ruling. So when did this really become mainstream? This is a Supreme Court ruling that doesn't even fully absolve Trump. It's just based off of Trump telling Pence not to certify it. It's a presidential act, and it was official act, so he's allowed to do it. But it's like this crazy struggle session. Whenever one thing doesn't go right with these people, they immediately start crying and calling everyone racist. And it's like, when did this become mainstream? These people let politics run their entire life to the point where a single ruling on a specific thing, it's like the end of the world. So it's just always strange to me. You also do have, this thing, whatever this is with Kamala talking about, there's so many extremists, they're so bad. I take it back, Biden's their best shot. Yes, that's actually right. Biden gives them a better chance over Kamala, even though some people now want Kamala. All the polls show it. Biden's at least got the incumbent advantage. He's been president before. People know him. It's name recognition. If they can somehow get him through that September 10th debate, that's a much better strategy than going with Kamala. And you can see when it comes to this, that Kamala's like, they're all extremists. It's so fake. It's horrible acting. They're not even on a call together with this little segment that they did. They're all extremists. Okay, yeah. I'm an extremist. They wanted Trump killed yesterday. They thought they could do it legally, but I'm the extremist. Yes, they're losing to Trump. They say, just go kill him. We're losing. No, but I'm the extremist. Antifa, $2 billion, biggest riot ever, but January 6th is worse. 25 people dead in the biggest riot with Antifa and George Floyd and BLM. Nobody dies in January 6th except a Trump supporter. But no, January 6th is worse. Yes, we're the extremists. All the data shows conservatives are more peaceful. But no, we're the extremists. It makes total sense because Kamala said it. And she also said in a tweet that Donald Trump wants to make abortion totally illegal. Obviously, Trump, he's had such an amazing opinion of abortion. It's a terrible topic for Republicans. And he's saying really just being totally neutral, especially for a conservative. It's actually more of a liberal point of view to say leave it up to the states rather than be, ironclad and say it should be illegal. That's why Trump, and that's an underrated aspect of Trump. You've got a lot of conservatives who would be like, no, these are my beliefs. We have to make it illegal. And while that's well and good, there has to be give and take when you're a politician. That's a horrible, topping and a horrible thing if you do that because you're going to lose so many independent voters. So while you think you're standing for something, you're really limiting your chance for your party to gain power and actually make a difference. That's the first step. You have to get in. So that's why Trump's come out and said, we're going to leave it up to the states. They're losing it. Biden, on the debate question with abortion, completely screwed up. And now they're trying to do the damage control. And that's another reason why a lot of these Democrats are livid, because even on topics where Biden should crush Trump, he can't. It's not there. He can barely talk. So it's a major issue for them. Has anyone seen this tweet? This is good. This is when Trump came out. Nobody talks about this 3 o'clock in the afternoon on January 6th. I don't want to keep talking about January 6th. We're going to get to the big stuff. But Trump says, I'm asking for everyone at the Capitol to remain peaceful, no violence. He says that at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That was from Trump. But no, Trump is this big, bad, horrible dictator. He wanted them to storm the Capitol and take over, but he's only tweeting no violence, and he says at noon, be peaceful. No, he's a terrible dictator. He wanted those people to take over so he could just remain as president, and that's really what happened, right? And here it is, right? This is the literal proof. We have it in writing. We have the time. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then he makes the video at 4 o'clock and Twitter deletes it. But no, Trump has all the power over all of his supporters. He told them to all go in, even though they came out in tweets or in text messages before and said, Trump's not doing enough, you need to help. But he's a horrible dictator. We've got Nate Silver now coming out. July 1st model. Remember, Nate Silver launched this. It's kind of a different thing than 538. Because 538 has it like 50-50. I think Nate Silver realized the 538 model is crap because it doesn't take into account the actual poll swings and the difference when you look at 2020, the error against Trump. Same thing with 2016. I think this model that Nate Silver has does. And now Nate Silver comes out after the first debate. You've got Trump trending up about 5 or 6%. It looks like 72% chance. And now Silver says Trump's got above 50% chance to win the popular vote as well. So this is all big stuff when it comes to that. Trump just posts this. You can see Biden. I mean, listen, this is all Hunter Biden. This is all Jill Biden. They're the top two advisors at this point to Joe. They've got him orange. It came out that they were irate at the makeup choices by the Biden administration. They wanted to fire everyone. And now they're turning Biden into Trump. He's totally orange because he was complete. I have to be honest. I agree with Hunter. The makeup was terrible, and this doesn't matter. I mean, Biden is old. You can't really mask it. He's complete. You can't mask how he speaks, but the makeup choice was horrible. I mean, Biden looked basically like death during that debate. He was totally white. And now you've got Hunter Biden coming out and advising him. He's like Biden's number one advisor now, and Jill's right there as well on the cover of Vogue. She's the proxy leader. And they've got Biden looking a little bit better. Now, he does look exactly like Trump, so it is funny, but you have to plaster him because his skin is so white. Just like a ghost, you've got to do something. So they've got him orange now. They literally stole Trump's makeup routine. And so that's going on. So here it is, Rachel Maddow, like almost in tears, fake crying. She says that if the Democrats want to change, they need to do it immediately. I said, I think they're going to do it soon. They need to wait a little bit because of optics. It looks terrible to remove Biden right after the debate. It makes it seem like, well, Biden has this horrible debate performance. We want to get rid of him just to try and win because we know this is going to look bad. They need some type of, doctor's note, if you will. When you're at school, you need a doctor's note or whatever to get out. That's what they need with Biden. They need to say, well, you know what? We've stuck with Biden, but we just can't continue because someone says it's not going to happen and he's not fit to run, and we all agree, and Joe agrees, and everything like that. The problem with that is there's so much infighting right now with Joe, who I think honestly would probably step down or just say, I'm not going to run again and allow someone else to come in. But Jill is just total control. She has total control over Joe. It's been reported. Hunter also has control, apparently. I mean, this is crazy stuff. And so Joe right now is not going anywhere, but we do have another tweet from Tucker Carlson that makes a lot of sense, basically saying the top Democrats don't care about Joe at all, and I agree. That's why I was so confused when the rumors started coming out that Jill is kind of controlling things and saying Joe's not stepping down. Why would she have any control of that? The power dynamics should be, you need to listen to Obama, you need to listen to other people when it comes to, especially the first lady of basically a vegetable at this point. So Rachel Maddow comes out on her show and I mean, she's like crying about it. These people, they always cry during these things. It's weird. And I mean, her strategy is say remove immediately. They should have removed him 5 or 6 months ago, really. And that's what they should have removed him last year, like 7 or 8 months ago, because then you would give whoever the choice is. And I guess it probably would be Kamala. If this is, see, the thing is, if the Democrats are operating under the opinion that if it's not Joe, it's Kamala, then you just got to try and keep him. I know people say it's ridiculous. Joe has a better chance. I'm not lying. So you're just going to have to keep him. You're going to have to try and do something when it comes to the September 10th debate. Try and spin it like, oh, it was a one-off night. But, I mean, even Jake Tapper now is saying, this is ridiculous. He's calling these people out. Jake Tapper's done like a 180, and We're going to get to that in a second, but Rachel Maddow coming out saying they need to change. If they're going to change, they need to do it immediately. And I do think, obviously, they need to do it soon. They don't have the runway, but you also have to think if they want to be, democratic about it, they're going to do it at the convention and have all the delegates go to someone and it'll be like, oh, the people chose when they really didn't. This is a very good point. I know I will respect the limits of the presidential power as I have for 3.5 years. So Biden trying to use that against the Supreme Court, saying that Trump's going to be this dictator now. He's got majority Republican influence in the Supreme Court, and look at what they've done with this ruling. But you've also got Biden coming out. This probably was a few months ago. Supreme Court blocked me from the student debt relief, but they did not stop him. And so that's even more illegal when you think about the context of it. Biden basically saying, yeah, the Supreme Court said I couldn't buy votes. It's 2024. The election is upcoming, but I'm going to do it anyway. We're going to find a loophole. They did find a loophole. A judge had to shoot it down, and now it's being appealed, the student debt thing. Because it started coming out, all these kids started posting. I think the Biden administration was like, you need to don't post this because it looks bad. It's basically Biden plastering his name saying we're saving you $20,000. And hey, it's the election's upcoming. Maybe you should vote for me. It's good timing. I don't know. So this is a good, hypocrisy tweet here from the research team there. Another Biden top advisors. This is one of the Democrats' biggest strategists, James Carville, coming out and saying that Biden and 72% of America agrees he should be pulled from the ticket. This is on CNN. The CNN stuff is daily. The propaganda against Biden, trying to get him removed. It's a constant thing, and a lot of the anchors, and Jake Tapper in specific, is really going hard against Biden. He knows that Biden is going to lose. It's not going to be pretty. They're in a very tough spot right now. I think their best option, if you want to have a clean removal, is to go with Michelle Obama over Newsom. Because the thing is with Newsom, how do you elevate Newsom over a woman of color? And you're the Democratic Party in 2024. That's very hard to do. So their top strategists now are even admitting, get him out of there. It's not going to work. The American people want to change. 72% have said it. We've got a few tweets from Tucker Carlson. Like I was saying earlier, all this nonsense you read about how only Biden can make the decision to leave is just so absurd. Well, it was actually shifted from Biden to like Jill. Well, the report was that Joe was kind of like embarrassed by himself, but Jill like takes him back and says, no, you need to keep running. Hunter apparently influencing him at Camp David. So I don't even think it's Joe Biden making the actual decision to continue running. His family has a huge influence over him. They're the first ones that he talks to, and he listens to them. And it was reported that he listens to Jill over any of his top advisors. So it might not even be Joe who really wants to run. The family is convincing him because they love the power. And so you see this, the Democrats, they're all like this whole team thing, no one person, and especially Biden. You wouldn't think Biden would be able to stop it. So Tucker's basically saying they can remove him. He doesn't have the power. I agree. You can see Tucker also saying Biden is done. Bet on it. Too many prominent Democrats have suggested he's brain damaged. They can't walk that back. Well, I do think they could walk it back. I haven't heard like a crazy prominent Democrat admit like Biden is a vegetable and he might have dementia. I don't think I've heard like a huge Democrat say that. Now, there have been rumors, there have been things behind the scenes, possibly a lot of the top Democrats meeting, but he says that they have to remove him and they will. The only question is when. If they're smart, they'll do it immediately. If Kamala is going to be the nominee, she might as well be the president first. That leaves the question of Trump. Well, I think if Kamala is going to be the nominee, I would just keep Biden. I honestly, I would. So maybe that's what they're doing, but leaves the question of Trump and his sentencing on July 11th. So yes, I think there's no way they can send Trump to jail. It won't matter anyways because Trump's going to appeal. But so for them, if I was the Democrats, I would say just make it as limiting as possible. Do some type of house arrest. Because how it looks right now to the American people, they already think the felony charges are a sham, and we've got top Democrats that agree with that. Many top Democrats have said it's crazy. Mitt Romney, one of Trump's biggest haters, has said it's crazy. And so you've got all these people coming out and admitting this is ridiculous, it's a total sham. They elevated the charges to get Trump because they knew the other three trials were in legal mud and they weren't going to be resolved until after the election. So they'd have no ammo going into election season with those three trials because they were all appealed to death. And that's what Trump can do. So this was the only one that was going to be solved here or resolved. And they said, you got to hammer it and hammer it. And they thought they could control the narrative, and now it's blown up in their faces. Even before the debate, it blew up in their faces, and Trump gained a point or two nationally in polls after he was a felon. And that just goes to show you how ridiculous it is. If Trump was actually like a felon and he committed a crime, independent people, trust me, they would admit it, and Trump's numbers would go down. But it's a sham charge, and it's actually getting worse for the Democrats now with Biden's horrible debate performance, because you have like almost a desperation, especially if they send him to prison or say he has a sentence and he has to appeal it. It's such a desperation. It's such a horrible look. They already think the felon charges are a sham. Now you're going to send him to jail after Biden just had a horrible debate performance and Trump is up 6 or 7 points nationally. It's a terrible look, so they're really screwed. I think they should probably try and do house arrest for Trump. That's what their advisors are probably saying, but we'll have to see when it comes to that. Either way, Trump's going to appeal it. Any thoughts as to why Biden only spoke for 4 minutes? He's just not capable of speaking for longer. That's the problem. And they're saying to him he needs to do a 2-hour press conference. Took no questions. That's another thing. Biden is not capable of answering things that he doesn't know he's going to be asked. That's why Biden really could not call out Trump when Trump was saying things that maybe, Democrats thought he exaggerated, things like that. It's all scripted. During every one of Biden's responses during that debate, he had some type of, hit line like, oh, you're a liar, it's malarkey, but it was also scripted. The acting was so bad from Biden. It was like he was rating on what do I say now? Do I call him a liar? Do I call him a dictator? Because there was always something he said at the beginning, and then he would go on to a spiel of incoherent babble, but he always said something at the beginning. There it is. I mean, Biden does look better. He looks more vibrant. I like what Hunter Biden's doing. I mean, Hunter Biden, he's impressing me. He's impressing me as a potential future politician. Let's get the ticket now. Hunter comes in as VP. They kick off Kamala, and Hunter runs things. Hunter Biden, the number one advisor to Joe right now. Who would have thought? And I mean, this is just sad. He looks like he looks like he's on his deathbed there. And now they've got him turned into Trump 2.0. Maybe this is Biden's way of saying, you know what? I respect Trump so much. Maybe Biden comes out and says, I want to be Trump's VP. All right, I'm ready to go full MAGA. It's happening. I'm going to bring Hunter along. He's a great strategist. He's my number one guy. Jill's a little crazy. She's going to divorce me and try and run as a Democrat, but maybe he does that. But yeah, I mean, the Hunter Biden stuff with him actually being a top advisor, it's being wrong. You guys remember the Hunter Biden thing? When he had the cocaine and he's like, Daddy, I left my white stuff in the press room. Some nerd journalist found it. What are we going to do, Daddy? Help me. I mean, and they just lied about it. That situation just went away. They didn't even talk about it. I think Joe knew. He's like, oh my God, just stop talking about it. It'll go away. We control the media anyways. And that's what happened. You do have this Biden's response and then this response. Yeah. This is true. Biden is interfering with an attempt to imprison his election opponent. There were reports that came out that he pressured Merrick Garland to jam that charge against Trump and get that expedited, the New York case. So that is true. And even so with Alvin Bragg, just how ridiculous. It's such a charade. You've got the leader of that entire case and like the presider over it before getting the position of power saying he was going to get Trump. What are we doing? That's the most ridiculous un-American thing ever. You cannot run on the idea that you are going to try and put a specific political person, especially somebody running for president, somebody leading all the polls, in jail as a reason why you should be given that position. And then you do it by elevating misdemeanor charges where Democrats don't even agree with you. This is all so ridiculous. And they gaslight and say, well, and listen, this is the other thing I was going to talk about. You can see Biden speaking here. I mean, Democrats told me yesterday, I thought Biden was going to do a live stream of him like going to Mar-a-Lago and just killing Trump. I mean, it's legal. It's an official act, right? It's like they tell on themselves. It's so stupid. But why didn't Biden just kill Trump? This is democracy. Biden is losing to Trump in all the polls. we need real democracy in America. Biden just should kill Trump. That's pure democracy. That is amazing. Trump's a threat to democracy. He's beating us on all the polls. Let's just kill him. Why didn't I? The Democrats are so smart. Why? It's an official act, right? Of course, they don't read it. They don't realize Trump telling Biden not to certify. That's an act, and it's all been explained by multiple people and many top legal advisors saying this is totally legitimate. The president would not be able to act as a president because he's one branch of power, the executive branch, without having immunity. He wouldn't be able to do his job. So that's why that's given, and then they do the false equivalency like, oh, so you can commit any crime. No, it's an official act. You know, the unofficial act, you're not immune. And they said that. So they're all playing dumb. It's all rage fear, things like that. The Huck Tua girl, like, I'm not going to simp for this girl, but this is ridiculous. I mean, they say that she hates Trump, like it's a no for me. They asked her if she would like suck Trump's dick or something. I mean, come on, this is just, you see, and they actually community noted it. I predicted 8 minutes max. He made it 4 minutes. Yeah, he's just totally cooked at this point. He's done. More advisors on CNN coming out, and now they're revealing that Biden, on at least 15 occasions last year, appeared like he did during the debate. So they're all saying it's been terrible for a while. We all knew this. This is no big news. Maybe it is to Democrats, but it's just so crazy. The guy has like a hunchback walk and he's always shaking and he can barely speak, but they're surprised now. Oh my God. They're shocked that Biden had this horrible performance. He's just too far gone, but they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do they go with him or Kamala? So it's a real mess right now. Joe Biden reads, end of quote. While the caption is factually correct, it attempts to mislead the reader into thinking that there was an error and inappropriate on the president's part. However, the president was quoting the Supreme Court justice's words, saying end quote was appropriate. I actually don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. I saw the end of this, and it did seem like it was just reading from the teleprompter, end of quote. They tried to be smart and community note it, but it's the way he read it. It seemed like he was reading the end of quote thing like he wasn't supposed to say it. If you actually read it, they're trying to like add context to it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You do have this. Wow, it would be crazy if the president did that. A scenario laid out on MSNBC. Trump could order Justice Department officials to open a sham investigation into his political rival. Right, this literally just happened. I do want to find this Jake Tapper stuff. All right, so here we do have all of the forecasts changing. Trump is going up in basically every one. 73% chance to win here. Before the debate, it was around 71, so it's gone up slightly. You do have this forecast. Is this 538? I don't think 538 has Trump at a 69% chance. I don't know if that is 538. 68% chance. And then the betting. I mean, so you have to understand with the betting, it swings a lot. So I wouldn't say, well, Trump's for sure going to win. You know, he's up by 40, 50 points over Biden. The betting swings a ton. So the other thing with the betting is they have flipped both Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Michigan is a swing state now. And then Trump's leading in basically every other swing state. And that's what we expected after that horrible performance. Here it is. Jake Tapper hammers Democrats for not taking Biden's mental decline seriously. Calls out Chris Coons, probably one of their top advisors. There's a pattern of the stuff, and we can see it with our own eyes. Tapper says, he calls him out with all due respect. It is not honest to say that this is just one night. There have been moments like this. And so the interesting thing with this, they don't say it in that tweet, but Tapper suggested that Biden do a 2-hour press conference answering questions for 2 straight hours. And the advisor actually agreed with Tapper, but there is no way that Biden could do that. I think maybe he tries to do damage control and agrees to a 30-minute thing, but even then, I think he'll still mess up. So that's how bad it is for Biden. You've got all of these top liberals that want Biden out. They want him gone. The dynamic is, this is where it gets hard. How are they going to put in the proper candidate? Because it can't be Kamala. Now, technically, you could say, well, Kamala, at least she's all there. You know, people can vote for her under good conscience. You got the whole first female president. But that charade's kind of been played out by Hillary. Like, Hillary had that whole idea. Hillary had a much, stronger overall appeal than Kamala. A lot of people understand that. You know, it's been reported Kamala was only chosen because she's a minority female and Biden was a white dude. old guy, white old guy. That's the problem. So they chose her as an optics decision, and now it's biting them because they can't remove her. And obviously, if you try and remove her and Biden, it is a total clown show. That's not happening. So how do they elevate someone above Kamala to where it doesn't look ridiculous? Is that even possible? This is all stuff their strategists have to be discussing, and Obama has to be discussing, because it all looks so bad. So that is what's going on, and that's a full breakdown. A lot of the top Democrats saying he needs to be removed immediately. This is ridiculous. He does his speech last night, 4 minutes, and nothing really changes. Can he actually do 30 minutes answering questions just totally organic, off the cuff? I don't think he can. And Tapper is suggesting 2 hours. I don't think Biden can speak for 2 hours and his brain can function at that high of a level to where he's trying to answer questions from the press and be presidential. That's the big issue. So the whole thing is just, it's a pressure cooker right now. And Biden is listening to his inner family. All of his advisors now are his, top family members like Hunter. And all of these people on the outside are saying, no, get him out. CNN is ringing the alarm bells. They rang the alarm bells. I think they got calls from donors on the debate, and they said that this is just not going to happen. You need to get him out. You need to change the narrative, and they're trying to change it. And even Tapper now is saying the guy just cannot function. Independents are not going to vote for him. It's just not going to work. Like this whole thing, and now everyone's been saying the word gaslit. I do say that word a lot as well, I'll be honest. But because it can be used so many different ways politically, in so many different spots, you can use it, just like this spot, where a lot of these Democrats, the mainstream ones who are like, no, you got to get him out, the inner people are saying, Biden's fine, it's all right, there's nothing wrong. And then all the donors and CNN's like, no, he's not going to win. Independent people are just not going to vote for this. And even if they don't want to vote for Trump, there's a viable third-party candidate with RFK, to where they feel like technically they're not throwing their vote away. It's not like a Jill Stein thing. RFK's still going to get 9-10%. Maybe he'll win a state if it gets this fractured. Also, another thing I did, speaking of that, I saw another poll that came out. Only 4 electoral votes, I believe, New Hampshire, but Trump was up by 2 in New Hampshire. That should be a state where I think RFK should get a lot of the vote from Biden, which should help Trump possibly get those 4 electoral votes, which could be meaningful if Trump really shits the bed in the Rust Belt and loses all those states. He can still very easily win. He could at least get to like 268, even by losing those states, as long as he wins Arizona, Nevada, and Georgia. And then if he takes New Hampshire, he'll win no matter what with like 272. And that's with him losing the 2nd district in Nebraska as well. He can still win if he takes New Hampshire, but we're not really talking about that. We're talking about Trump possibly getting like 370, 380 electoral votes with how bad Biden is right now. And it's looking like they could possibly be stuck with him, but Tucker has come out and said it's not going to happen. He's on record. They are replacing him. It does make total sense. How do they do it? Kamala, I think I would have Trump in a bigger blowout win over Kamala. Maybe they can try and swing it, but it just seems like such a retread. They're going to try and do, if the first woman president, that was already a Hillary thing. It's not going to work again, especially with someone that, Hillary at least had like a political standing. She'd been in politics for a while. Bill. It's just, I don't think it's going to work with Harris at all if they do decide to do that. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.